All right, now we're really going to start cooking with gas. Okay? So this is when we get to my favorite part, which is power tools. So in my opinion, a drill is probably the first power tool that you're going to want. I would recommend getting a cordless one. It is very flexible and enables you to take it just about anywhere. Nowadays, they have ones with really great batteries. This one has a 20-volt lithium battery, so very nice, holds a good charge, is powerful, and will do most of what you need it to do. So, a few basics on the drill. The drill has reversible mechanisms here, so if you press this button in, it goes forward, and if you press this button here, it goes backwards. So there you are. It also has adjustable numbers here on the top. See that? Mm-hmm. So this adjusts the torque, and that is the amount of force that it will put on a screw or whatever it is that you're turning before it disengages. Mm. So if you have it at a low level there, it will bottom out pretty quickly. And then if you have it on a high level of torque, it will encounter quite a bit of resistance before it stops.
Does that just depend on what surface you're working with as far as how high you want that to be?
Exactly. So if you're drilling something, you probably want it all the way up because you just want to get your hole through. If you are screwing something, there might be a scenario where you don't want it to go full force. And so especially with screws, and a lot of times with those Phillips heads especially, they can strip out if you turn it too fast. So it wears off the little corners there so that it can't engage with those surfaces anymore. And then the screw won't turn because it has nothing to engage. So using a lower level of torque there will help you prevent that from happening because the drill will just stop turning if it encounters too much resistance. And then you can back it out a little bit and get some momentum going and hopefully get yourself where you need to be with that screw. So before we get into screws though, let's take a look at holes. So we start off, you can make a hole with a spiral bit right here. You can see that. And it has these blades basically that go around a cylinder, and those will chew out your wood. So here, there, we've got this, and probably should be using eye protection for this. Here you can see, and it helps if you go forward. But it is throwing up these little dust particles because this is self-extracting. Basically, the spirals cause the wood chips to come up and pull them out of the hole, and creates a little hole in the wood there. So you can see how that works. And you can go all the way through. And you can use that for, let's say you need to pass a piece of wire through some wood, or lots of different scenarios where you need to make a hole in wood. So can you think of anything?
Well, I was just thinking, I know I've seen my dad use like a small one to drill like a pilot hole before he puts a screw in or something like that.
Ah, yep, you're getting ahead of us. So yeah, we will get there though, but that is a common application that you'll use a drill bit like this for. So I didn't really talk about how you put the tools in there. There is this chuck right here, and this is a hand tightening chuck, and basically you just tighten it up there and it makes these jaws open up wider, or if you rotate it like this, it tightens them down, and that clamps down on the piece that you're holding there.
Oh, I see that. I see.
So that is the spiral bit. Then we also have a spade bit. So here you can see it's got the pointy end there, and then it's got this bigger part. This is generally used for pretty rough cuts. So let's say you're drilling through a joist to pass a wire through or something like that. So it's not usually used for stuff that needs to look really pretty, but it is good, quick and dirty there to put a large hole in something. They're usually used for the larger sizes. So. And you can see it throws out quite a bit of sawdust because we're drilling a really large hole there. Mm-hmm. But the key with this is you want to get it up to full speed before you get started in there, and it will create a bigger hole there. And I really should be wearing eye protection. So you can see how if we kept going there, that would put a large hole in it, but we've got the bigger diameter hole with the spade bit. One thing you want to be careful about with these is tear out on the back side. It's really easy for them to really chew out a really ugly thing with lots of splinters and stuff on the back. So one trick that you can use to avoid that is just drill until the tip part comes out through the other side, and then you can go around to the back side and go from the other side to prevent a lot of tear out there. So that is your spade bit. Then we go on to one of my favorite ones here, and this is more of a specialty tool. You probably don't need this for your basic home repair, but it is a really fun woodworking tool. These are called Forstner bits. So these are used to create really pretty flat-bottomed holes. And a lot of times you'll see these used more in drill presses and not so much in hand drills. But you can use them in hand drills too. You just want to be really careful about getting started, really pressing down firmly so that it doesn't bounce around a lot. But But I just love those because they make the most beautiful wood shavings.
Yeah.
And then it creates a really pretty flat-bottomed hole there. So
yeah,
you can see that. IKEA will use these a lot when they have those cam lock kind of fasteners, and so they'll have a whole a fastener that comes through this way, and then they'll have the thing that you turn to engage it with that.
Yes.
And they'll use a Forstner bit to create the hole that you need for that nut there. So there's your Forstner bit. Okay. Then you can also turn your drill into a power screwdriver. So before screwing, I'm going to go back to what you were saying earlier with the pilot hole, and we'll go ahead and make a small hole in our wood here to give the screw a place to go down. So I'm going to want to put these pieces together about like that, and so I'm going to go down and just make a small pilot hole. Like that. And then we can change out our bit. And I'm going to use this magnetic driver bit here. So it converts this into a driver holder, and then we have the Phillips bit that can go into that hex opening right there. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and start this out on this flat surface to get started. Okay, and then I'm going to move it over here. And hopefully hold this all together. Alright, and there you saw it was kind of skipping around a little bit, so I might want to turn down my torque just a little bit. I probably have a little high, so I'm going to adjust that down to try to prevent stripping out. And hear how that goes like that? Now it's a little too low. So I'm going to turn it up and then just try to increase the amount of pressure that I have on it so that we can keep going here. Let's see, turn this way. Alright, still a little too low. Okay, and then it's mostly together. Usually I would clamp something like this before putting it together like that so that it holds it tight together, but you get the basic idea. It's screwed together, it's not coming apart. I can actually twist these together a little bit more to tighten that joint up there. But there we go. Any comments?
No, just that I'm thinking how many times I wished I had a power tool when I was using, or a power driver like that when I...
Yes, it really makes things so much easier. Yeah, if you were trying to do this by hand, I can't imagine how long it would take and how much force you would need to exert, but the power tool really helps. There. So with that, next I'm going to put a little drywall on the back of this here so that we can use this for further illustrations. With drywall screws, you would probably want to use a lower torque because you don't want to go too hard. Alright, so we'll keep working on that, but that's the basic idea with that. So you can use that to screw things together. Next, you can also convert your drill into a power socket driver. So here I've got an adapter that's got a hex on this end, and then it's got a square socket adapter on this end, and that goes together like that. So if you need to turn some hex bolts or nuts quickly, it's really good. So here we'll see how fast this goes as opposed to using a ratchet. Pretty great.
It's like the concept of like NASCAR when they take the tires off. This kind of a concept.
Yeah, I think that you have something similar. It would be probably a torque drill or something there, but something very specialized for that particular application. But it is the same general principle, yeah. So that is a fun application of the drill. And then we also have a hole saw adapter. So this you would probably see mostly used to create small holes in drywall, but basically this engages with that, and they come in different sizes. So here you can switch out the different sizes if you want a larger size. You assemble that together, and then you could use some of your wrenches to tighten that up really well, and then tighten down on that with the chuck, and then we can go through and cut holes in the drywall there. So that looks like we need to increase our torque. And popped a hole right through that. So there we go. There we've got our hole in our little model of a wall here. And you can see how that tool is used. So lots of different applications for a drill. That's just scratching the surface. There are a lot of other things you can do with it.
Scratching the surface.
See what I did there? But a really fun tool to have. I would say this is your #1 power tool to get.